Alright, what's going on, guys? Elden Ring Nightreign has been undergoing a lot of changes lately. We now have a new format of how the game is going to be set up with new content going forward until the DLC, with weekly rotations of Enhanced Nightlord Fights, and man, these are tough. But while that announcement stole the spotlight last week, there has been quite a bit of other news going on regarding FromSoftware as a whole. We've got some really good news, some really sad news, and we're gonna break all of that down. But first we gotta talk about this. In Elden Ring Nightreign, having a truly optimized run can make the world of difference in helping you take down more Nightlords, which is why it's super important that if you're still struggling, to check out the partner of today's video, Mobalytics. Mobalytics is the best place to find full detailed breakdowns of the game, boss guides, community character builds, and much more, such as my favorite build on Wilder, running the Silver Tier Relic, which charges your ultimate gauge every time you use the skill, the Grand Luminous Scene, which heals my allies when I heal and buffs fire damage, and the Slate Whetstone, which gives me the follow-up on the skill, raises physical attack, and coats my greatsword in flame. So optimize your Elden Ring Nightreign experience today with Mobalytics, and now let's get back to the video. To start off today, let's talk a little bit about these enhanced fights. Now, we obviously started out this rotation with Adele, Baron of the Night, and we know that coming on Thursday will be the enhanced version of Sentient Pest, which I am dreading personally, because to be honest with you guys, I think Sentient Pest is the hardest fight in the game. I struggle so bad with that fight, so I'm gonna have to get some practice in, for sure. Now, fortunately, I was able to take down the enhanced version of Adele. I didn't think it was that bad. I did run it with randoms a few times, and honestly, I didn't have great groups, so I opted to try it solo, and that felt much better for this fight in particular. So if you're like me and can't get a good group together, do try it on solo. You might be surprised the difference it makes. But what we need to talk about today is the reception to this update, because the news that Elden Ring Nightreign was about to be getting even harder had a lot of people questioning how successful this idea would actually be. Well, if numbers are anything to go by, it looks like this idea is exactly the thing Elden Ring Nightreign needed, because this update caused a 70% spike in player count, at least over on Steam. Now, Elden Ring Nightreign, I think, is uniquely equipped for this exact kind of content rollout. It's not a game you sit there and play all day long every single day. This is a game that's much better suited to hop on every now and again, to get a few runs in with your friends. And a lot of people are mad that these fights are time gated too and on rotation, but at the same time, again, I think that works perfectly with this game. That keeps it alive, that keeps it fresh, and that gives you a reason to log on every week. And I think realistically, everybody can get their victory over that boss at least once in a week. If you're needing help, check out Mobalytics, they got you covered. I've also seen some Sherpa groups out there carrying people. Shout out to those guys, you can find them online somewhere. But in addition to that, if you're on PC, honestly, I got some mixed feelings about this, but modders have restored the upcoming Enhanced Nightlord Fights. Now, we had already accessed that they did get the files and did get to look at what these will be like, but they're now public for anyone to access. Now, realistically, that's a fantastic way to practice the fight before it actually goes live on Thursday. Me personally, though, I wish we could be surprised about these things, but stuff like this is just unavoidable nowadays. And do you call that cheating? I don't know. Like I said, I got mixed feelings about it, but it's out there now if you do want to be prepared for Thursday. Also in the news, we got a little bit more about the Elden Ring movie, which we covered here on the channel, the details of which we only know that it is set to be directed by Alex Garland in A24 Studios. Now, a lot of people were really skeptical at this news that this was even actually going to happen in the first place, and to be fair, rightfully so. I mean, actual good movie adaptations of video games are rarer than diamonds. And when it comes to Elden Ring specifically, a game so obtuse, obscure in nature, with a story that the majority of players don't even understand, the chances of this actually succeeding are very low. However, Alex Garland does appear to be someone who truly does understand what these games are actually about. He understands the mood, and we discussed a clip of him talking about Dark Souls a few videos back, where he perfectly describes the atmosphere of the game. Well, he recently sat down with IGN to discuss 28 years later, but they did ask him about Elden Ring, and here's what he had to say.
I do want to talk a little bit about Elden Ring.
I'm not gonna say anything about it.
I just wondered if there was a boss that you've had particular trouble beating. Radahn was actually really difficult for me.
Radahn's really easy. I thought Radahn was quite easy because as long as you sort of activated the people who can assist you in that fight, they get on with fighting him, and then you just, you know, they take off of whatever it is, half of his energy, and you finish him off. It's all about activating those little summon signs dotted around. No, it's Millennia. It's the tough one. I'm now on the 7th playthrough of that game. I've leveled up. I've got lots of juice and cool sword and stuff like that. And I just throw myself at them again and again and again and again. That was the technique I learned with Dark Souls. It's not that you get better. It's more like monkeys and typewriters. You just keep doing it and eventually one day they're dead.
So I did see a lot of people talking online, very skeptical if he even actually did play the game. But I think it is very clear by now that yes, Alex Garland is actually somebody that plays Elden Ring actively, has played the Dark Souls trilogy in the past and understands the philosophy of the games. Not only that, but has made movies also that aren't strictly for entertainment but are very thought-provoking, dealing with complex themes, heavy tones, and movies that leave you thinking after watching them. So for me personally, I think that's exactly the kind of director we need on a movie about Elden Ring. You know, we need the movie to be dark. We need the movie to be very thought-provoking. We don't need it to be another essentially Hollywood isekai, which is basically just a cop-out when the director doesn't actually know anything about the game they're making a movie about, or why people play those games in the first place, when that's the subject matter they're depicting. I think they have a real chance here to genuinely make a fantastic movie, not only about the video game, but essentially some of the best fantasy subject matter that has ever been created. So I'm excited to see what comes out of this. I'm excited to learn more with Alex Garland at the helm, and I think we've got a real shot here at getting something special. And then unfortunately we have to talk about some sad news today. The actress Pixin Lim passed away at the age of 80. Now you may not recognize her face, but you will absolutely recognize her voice. And that's because she was the narrator behind the iconic Dark Souls opening cutscenes.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead.
I don't know about you guys, but ever since I played Dark Souls for the first time so many years ago, that opening cutscene has always stuck with me, especially the yes indeed. Matter of fact, why don't y'all leave a comment, make a yes indeed chain down there. So unfortunately we had to report on that sad news today, but her work on those cutscenes made them so memorable and was absolutely perfect to set the tone for the rest of the game. Now right here at the end of the video, there are two things I want to mention as well. Stuff that we need to keep our eyes out for on the horizon, and I find it weird that we haven't heard any news about. The first being a duos mode for Elden Ring Nightreign. This has been confirmed by Bandai Namco and FromSoftware several times, but we still have no idea when this is coming. Honestly, it would have been perfect to release the duos mode alongside the Enhanced Nightlord Fight, because I feel like this fight would be perfectly balanced in duos. It feels a bit too tough in trios, and not necessarily easy, but a bit squishy in solo. We need duos mode, man. Especially with a duo boss fight coming out on Thursday with the Enhanced Sentient Pest. Now is the perfect time to release duos mode. Come on, we need it. Also, the Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, we still do not have a release date on that, and the Switch 2 is extremely dry on games at the moment. I bought one just because I saw it on a shelf, and of course, I gotta play Metroid Prime 4 whenever that comes out, but as of right now, there's not really anything to play on it that I haven't already played on another console. So I just find it weird that we haven't heard anything about that. They've already showed off the content coming with it, let people play it at their in-house events. Why do we still not have a release date? Anyways though guys, I just wanted to talk about that here at the end. We had a lot of little news stories today that didn't really warrant a full video on their own, but we needed to talk about regardless. So I hope you enjoy. Good luck on killing the enhanced version of Adele if you have not already. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. But with all that, I will catch you in the next one.